One-sentence summary. Bond pisses off a powerful man, then proceeds to stalk him across the globe and piss him off more. Could you beat the villain? So Goldfinger isn't much of a threat. I think heart disease will take him out eventually, but Oddjob is a force to be reckoned with. Having said that though, I reckon Oddjob isn't bulletproof, so the first chance I get, I'd just shoot him in the kneecaps. You know, then take his hat away from him. No problems at all. Women in this film, you've got to talk about them. So I feel sorry for Jill Masterson, whose only crime is looking super hot whilst cheating at cards. And you also got to feel sorry for her sister Tilly, who tries to avenge her sister's death and dies. She didn't even need to be in the film. You also have to feel sorry for Pussy Galore because A, Bond keeps saying her name like it's a joke. B, she clearly says she's not interested and tries to resist him. And then, fingers crossed, like, his manly charms won her over. Otherwise, just straight up sexual assault, because like, he doesn't take no for an answer. Bond was told in the last film he needed to stop slapping women's asses, and then he does it again in this one. Moneypenny throws Bond's hat onto a hat rack, which usually he does in these films. That's a nice little twist. Also, she's too good for him and needs to move on. She needs a nice man. Or lady. I'm not judging. And this film ends with James Bond on top of a woman, but not in a boat. So that's different. Vodka Martini, yes, I believe it is shaken not stirred in this one. And Bond, James Bond, yep, pretty sure he says that. Is there a car chase? Yep, Bond tries out all his new DB9 gadgets against guys who are like driving saloons for some reason. And you've got to feel bad for those dudes because they're just like, they hear an alarm, they all go and check it out. They're proper excited about it. What if it was just a fox that set the tripwire off? But, you know, whatever. So they all go driving along and see what's what. And then they're getting exploded, they're getting knocked off of cliffs and all that sort of stuff. Like, they are definitely not being paid enough for it. What's the big stunt? There's nothing too outlandish in this, really. There's a lot of like interesting stuff like the car chase and the fight with Oddjob at the end. But there's nothing like totally mental. Music, yes, good theme, but you got to use it less per film. It wasn't as overdone as it has been in previous ones, so that's pretty good. How would you improve this film? So, picture the scene: you're infiltrating a location and you're swimming up, and you don't want to be detected. Would you A, put a fake duck on your head, or B, not do that and attract less attention? Because I wouldn't put a fake duck on my head. What was with that weird grappling hook gun that Bond had? Where did he have it included in with his scuba gear? And why wasn't the rope attached to the gun? Weird. And for someone who's just been swimming, Bond is very, very dry. And for someone who's just worn a wetsuit over his regular suit, like a dinner jacket, it was in very good condition. Bond's warned not to go back to his hotel, because, you know, they will be watching. And Bond seems to ignore that advice and goes back to his hotel where he is attacked. But thankfully, he sees a dude sneaking up on him in the reflection of a woman's eye, which when they did it in Austin Powers was a joke. Sometimes I wonder if the fight scenes in this are choreographed. I'm sure they must be, but it does just look a lot like two dudes randomly throwing each other around. The woman, whose eye is used as a mirror in this, she gets knocked unconscious for a little bit, but she still manages to keep her towel on like that, so good for her. The titles in this are a bit odd, because like, whereas the last one it was images projected on a waggling jubblies, this one is just images projected onto a woman sitting very, very still who's painted gold. And like, that's got to be a reference to Jill Masterson's corpse, which is grim, but also kind of a spoiler if you've not seen this film before. Why doesn't Lois Maxwell, aka Moneypenny, get a starring as title in this? Because she's been in all of these films, and you know, she should. The guy he's playing against is clearly like not at the hotel, he's in front of a green screen, so why is that there? Bond pulls a key from a maid's uniform, and he's all like, oh no, she's all like, you can't go in there, that's Mr. Goldfinger's room. He's like, I know. and then he just like lets her walk off. And I can't help but feel that that is why Oddjob knew where to find him later, because he wasn't even being subtle about breaking into someone's room. Yeah, so Jill Masterson, she's all like, I'm only paying to be seen with Goldfinger. I'm not a prostitute. She doesn't say those words. That's definitely the implication, though. And then, like, 5 minutes later, she's banging James Bond. You know, make of that what you will. And why is the radio on whilst they are making out? Only for Bond to, like, lean over and turn it off. Because surely someone turned it on. And Bond keeps getting hit in the back of the head and, you know, from behind in these films. He really needs to check his six. And he keeps almost being shot in the back as well. So, check your six, James Bond. You could have been dead multiple times in these films already. How long was Bond out cold after Oddjob snuck up on him and hit him in the back of the head? Because the fridge door was open the whole time, and that's bad for the environment. Also, probably got brain damage. And how would you paint another person in gold so that it kills them? So, say for example, painting someone completely head to toe would suffocate them, which obviously it wouldn't. But like, did Oddjob knock Jill out and then paint her so she suffocated, or like did he just ask her to sit very, very still? Then he painted her. Also, was he carrying around like paintbrushes and gold paint? Was that his plan? Originally he was like, well, I'm gonna kill this woman and I'm gonna cover her in paint first. Why not just, he's obviously strong enough to just break her neck or something. Why not just do that? Also, why is there not paint all over the place? Because like, I did some painting there. You can't see it. I did some painting there. And I got it on my hands, I got it on the keyboard. It's fucking ridiculous. She was murdered, painted in gold. Someone obviously did it. No shit, Em. I thought you were supposed to be good at this sort of thing. Come on, man. Em's all like, look, James Bond, you need to be more professional. And Bond is all like, maybe I'd be more professional, sir, if I knew what was going on. And Em's all like, yeah, right, meet me here at 7 and I'll tell you about it. Or just fucking tell him now. Tell him now, and you don't have to meet him later at 7, so you can go for dinner. There's a bit where Bond is all like, oh, where's my Bentley? And Q's all like, oh, it's past its day, mate. Like, we got you a nice new Aston Martin, because they're sponsoring the film. And Bond's all like, oh, my Bentley's never let me down before. I'm pretty sure we haven't seen that car in these films before. We did have a car, a convertible, in the start of the last one, but we didn't see it move, so it doesn't count. And B, you had the same issue in the first film when they were trying to replace your gun that didn't work. Just let Q Branch do their job, alright? Honestly, you're a pain in the arse. Goldfinger definitely knows who he is, because, like, let's say a week ago at max, Oddjob murdered a woman whilst Bond was in the room, having knocked Bond unconscious, and he went to great effort to paint her in gold. So, obviously, Goldfinger knows who Bond is. Bond also knows who Goldfinger is, so I don't quite know why they go through the whole ruse of let's play a little game of golf. And especially the bit where Goldfinger's like, well, this meeting is a coincidence, and Bond's all like, what do you mean? He's like, well, you didn't come here to play golf. Whole golf scene, it goes on for quite some time, and it's basically like a 15-minute advert in the middle of the film for a golfing equipment company whose name shall remain nameless. Oddjob has a hole in his pocket that allows him to drop golf balls, so that if, you know, Goldfinger loses one, he can find it again, just like in The Simpsons. Goldfinger. That's right, everything references The Simpsons in my head. But I feel like if you need your henchmen to do that, you are not good enough at golf. Probably find a new game. Also, there's more tension in the scene where Bond is swapping golf balls than when he found Jill was murdered. When Jill was murdered, Bond was like mildly annoyed. The caddy, who works for the golf course, he needs to shut his mouth and, you know his place. Stop. Cool, blimey, Mr. Bond, what's your plan now? Just shut up and hold the sticks, the golf sticks, alright. Bond and Goldfinger make a bet in the golf scene, and it's for $5,000 or a lump of gold. And I guarantee that Bond kept that money, even though he doesn't need it. He's more of a foodie in this film, though, which, is something from the books, so that's a nice little nod. Again, I forgive the old-looking green screen, because, it's a well-old film. But at least try and make it look like the car is level with the road, not, 2 feet above it. And Bond causes a car crash with like a spike drill thing that rips through the side of Tilly's car, and she, crashes into a ditch. And then he's all like, oh, wow, look at that. Both your tyres are blown out. I've never seen it done, never seen that before. Really. So the tyres exploded, carved a way through the rest of the bodywork of the car because of exploding rubber. Is that what you're saying? Until he's all like, yeah, I guess that's true. Goldfinger loudly explains that he smuggles gold using, his car and all that sort of stuff to some Chinese expert on radiation. Although at the time we don't know that he is a Chinese expert on radiation. He's just some guy that Goldfinger is loudly talking to. So when it is brought up later in the film that that guy is a Chinese expert on radiation, if it were mentioned earlier, it wouldn't have been so, wait, what? I thought he was like buying gold or something. So the front window, presumably the side windows as well, of the DB9 are bulletproof. So why does he need an additional bulletproof shield at the back of the car? And the only non-Asian person working at the smelting plant seems to be a little old lady at the front gate, which is weird. And it's kind of nuts that Bond is captured by the smelting plant guards, and they let him drive his car back to the plant. And it's also kind of mental as well. And he ejector seats the guy who's guarding him, because it's his car, he knows all the buttons. And they've seen it doing tricks and stuff. Anyways, it's also kind of mental as well that Bond is captured again because he mistakes like a mirror for an oncoming car. Right, that seems, he's supposed to be better than this. You know nothing, Mr. Bond. That seems like inspiration for Jon Snow, and having watched a couple of these in a row before I do the reviews, I've noticed a couple of things, like, I'm not just saying Diana Riggs being in one of them as well, there's a couple of things that feel very Game of Thronesy. So. Bond has one move in this film when he's looking for information. He basically mentions Operation Grand Slam and hopes people tell him more. And Goldfinger even calls him out on it, because Bond overhears Operation Grand Slam, and then when the big old laser's gonna do him a mischief, Bond's all like, well, if you kill me, I guess Operation Grand Slam's not gonna go ahead. And Goldfinger's all like, look man, you just overheard that, you don't know what it means. He's like, well, can you afford to take that chance? And Goldfinger's like, oh, shit, no I can't. And then he does the exact same thing at Pussy Galore later in the film. He's like, so, Operation Grand Slam, we all know all about it, so let's talk about it in detail. You go first. If you can't afford a real plane to use in your film, don't use an exterior shot of a plane, because that Thunderbirds looking stuff ain't going to work. It's a Smith & Wesson. If you fire it in here, the bullet's going to go through me and the fuselage, and we'll both be sucked into space. You'd probably just be sucked into the atmosphere and then plummet to you. Well, you'd already be dead, I imagine, but you'd probably just plummet to the ground. I don't think you're going to go into space. That's not what's going to happen. Pussy Galore, she runs a flying circus and says her pilots are the best, but they park the planes on the runway, not in the hangars. So how good are they? Because that seems like an oversight. Goldfinger's got this elaborate room filled with maps and pool tables and other sorts of stuff that flip over to reveal Operation Grand Slam. Allegedly, he's going to go and rob Fort Knox. He's not really, but that's what he tells everyone. A. What? Why have you got all these plans and stuff? I thought you were trying to keep this secret. B. Why are you telling it to these gangster people? You're going to have them killed anyway. C. What happened to like the builders and the architects and stuff who helped build this ranch and like installed the panels that flip round and stuff? Are they all dead now to keep this secret? What's going on? Who printed the giant maps and made the models? Are they dead? Those innocent people? I don't know. Stupid. But the only reason there's a whole model and there's one bit that's hollow, and that is the little Fort Knox. And the only reason that's hollow is so Bond can poke his head through it and find out what's going on. And that's just stupid. Anyway, I respect the gangster who kept his shades on during a meeting indoors in a room with the lights off. That guy was cool. Bond is in a cell in Goldfinger's ranch, and there's a guard outside the cell, and Bond's dicking around like waving at the guy and all that sort of stuff. And then he like does the thing where he pretends he's in a lift and like lowers his head out of view, and the guard is just like, what? And he goes in to check, and somehow Bond manages to get to the like roof of his cell and then drop down on the guy like a spider. But that guy deserved to get the shit kicked out of him, because like, just because you can't see him through a mostly solid metal door doesn't mean he's not there. Goldfinger uses gas to gas people, as you would, and it's said that it takes 15 minutes to work, but both times we see that gas used, it works instantly, not in 15 minutes. Why did Goldfinger have Oddjob drive one of the gangster men out of the ranch just to kill him? Why don't they just kill him in the ranch and dispose of his body at the same time they presumably disposed of all the bodies of the other gangsters that they gassed? Is the air above Fort Knox not restricted? It feels like those Pussy Galores flying circus planes should have been shot down way before they got anywhere close. Bond is about to rip out some wires in a nuclear device, and based on the expression of the guy who stops him doing it, it looks like Bond was about to fuck everything up. And it's odd that the countdown stopped on 7 seconds, not like 1 second, as you imagine it would now. The climactic fight at the end of this is, again, not with the physical threat Oddjob who's been built up for the entire film. It's with someone that Bond should like really be able to kick the arse off fairly easily, and he kind of does. Rating out of 5 beers. This film, I feel like this one was the mould that later Bond films have tried to copy and be. There's like iconic moments like the wetsuit that's taken off and revealed to have a suit under it and all that sort of stuff, and there's brand deals left, right and centre, and murder puns and jokes. And I did like the bit where Bond, the day is saved, and everyone's like, hey, you're going to go meet the president because you're a real cool guy, James Bond. He's like, oh, sweet. He gets on a plane, and then Goldfinger's there. And, side note, right, I'll come back to it in a second, but yeah. And then Goldfinger's there, he's got his gun pointed at Bond. And Bond's all like, oh, are you going to the White House too? Just like a side note, I've just realised as well. Goldfinger disguises himself as a US Army dude when his plan goes tits up. But A, does not try to hide his accent, which is kind of Germanish, and B, he's got a gold gun, right? Are you trying to blend in or are you not trying to blend in? Anyways, the point of this is I quite liked like little moments in the film where Sean Connery's doing something with Bond. Like there's a bit where Goldfinger goes to like slam a door and James Bond like jumps out the way and he was all like, ooh, all that sort of stuff. Those are quite good. And when he throws a gold bar at Oddjob and it just bounces off and you just see him go, oh no. But yeah, actually the countdown scene with the fight with Oddjob, that's pretty good as well. There's no music or words or anything like that, it's just tension. Anyway, the point is, and there was a bit where after James Bond escapes a cell, the one with the dumbass guy who thought he disappeared, next time you see him there's like 4 or 5 guys watching him, so that's pretty good. Anyway, I would give this 2 beers out of 5. It was pretty good. It was like probably the best one I've seen so far. Yeah.
He's the man with the mind.